Hello, thanks for tuning in and welcome to the pool party. I hope you can swim because we're definitely diving into the deep end with a huge splash of truth, facts, evidence, information, and proof. Swim. Say what you mean. It's talk about talking. How we listen, how we hear, how we speak, how we hear what we're listening to when we speak, how a listener hears what we're saying, if what we're saying, what they're actually hearing and or understanding. Is it clear? Swim. Say what you mean. Well, that's just the beginning of understanding, because after we get that understanding, how do we accept it? How we respond if it's not what we expect is paramount. Are you okay with the truth? Are you man, woman, human, or spiritual enough to accept the truth? Let's find out.
Let's do that.
Welcome to The Swimming Pool with your host, Travis Bridges.
And that would be yours truly on the MIC. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the swimming pool. The swimming pool, that's SWYM. That is the acronym for Say What You Mean. Oh, what did I do? Oh, yeah, I knew what I did. I'm not even going to worry about it, because when one thing stops, another thing be starting around here, because that's just how we do it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really, really do appreciate it. And in the words of my man, Stevie, got a good one for you. But I want to share something with you today. I had a few wonderful experiences, and so much that it made me want to stay. There's this one grocery store that I go to. They have a sale on their produce at certain days, so I kind of know when that is. And I went there today, and it's Latino influenced. I went in there, and as I was walking up, you know, I had my little strut thing going, and then this guy said, "Hey, yo, ¿qué pasa, papi? What's happening, man?" I said, "Hey, what's up, bro?" He said, "You know, when I look at you, I think of somebody." And I said, "Who do you think of?" He said, "Barry White." And I said, okay, I can see that. And then I said to him, I leaned over, I said, "Sure, you're right." This guy had every bit of 3 teeth in his mouth, and he let them all show. He thought it was so funny when I said, "Sure, you're right." But he said I kind of reminded him of Barry White, and I wasn't going to steal that thunder from him. So anyway, it was a good day, maybe because I was glowing a little bit. I had a wonderful experience. You know how in the Bible, the prodigal son, you know, sort of kind of came to himself? I've been having a lot of those. It's kind of been even a roller coaster, but you know, that's how it is sometimes. But today I had this moment, you know, and it caused me to really to think. You know, when you lose yourself sometime, for whatever reason, we all go through it, you know, you get distracted by something. We're talking about distracting on another live stream coming up soon. But sometimes you can get distracted and you can lose yourself. And I know that I've lost myself before, and I found myself. So well, guess what? I found myself again. Pray for me that I don't lose again. But this song was in my head all day. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to sing it to y'all. I feel like singing. Now, I'm going to forewarn you, this is the disclaimer. If you've got sensitive ears, you might want to go and just turn the volume down. Don't leave me, but just turn the volume down, because I'm going to sing, because this song really made me think. And when I think about, you know, me as I remember I used to struggle with this one thing about whether or not I was going to be able to play in church, because I played what's considered secular music. And there are some songs that I think are crossover. And this is one of those songs. It's called Like I'm Gonna Lose You, because that's one thing you don't want to do is lose yourself. You know, you can be in a relationship and you can lose someone, or, you know, you can have a relationship with your creator and you don't want to lose that either. But man, when you lose yourself, it's something else. But when you find yourself, you know, that's amazing. So this song was in my head. And I'm going to sing it for y'all. And if I catch you laughing, I'm going to punch you. All right? All right. So I'm going to sing this song for y'all. Hey, Christine, hey, Kimberly also. and the rest of everybody who I've got 4 other people watching. I'm going to sing. Oh, by the way, then after I sing and chat with y'all a little bit, I'm going to take a break and I'm going to go change clothes. I've got to get comfortable for this next live stream that's coming up. It's going to be awesome. So just hang in there with me. But let me get my singing. I'm going to sing a couple of songs too. But this song was in my head, you know, in this season right now that I'm starting to refine myself. You might see a little sparkle in my eye because last few weeks it's been kind of tough. And don't act like you don't go through nothing, because if you do, you're gonna don't. Okay. All right. I'm gonna sing this song. Oh, let me put my effects on too. Tell me if you can hear the difference. This is what we do in the studio. I'm gonna talk and then I'm gonna put my effects on. Can you hear the difference? This is what you put on when you're going to sing. All right. So bear with me, as they used to say in the old Pentecostal churches. Okay, it goes like this. I don't believe I'm doing this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. All right, here we go. Oh, wait, by the way, hold on a second. Let me stop the music for a second. Oh, let's see, which one? Where's my... Oh, I got the words to this one too. Somewhere. I've got words for 3 of them, but I can't find them right now. But I think I have. This is the one for this one. All right, here we go. Y'all ready? I'm gonna try not to laugh, because this is fun. This is coming from my heart, y'all. I'm gonna sing this from my heart. Y'all ready? All right. All right, here we go. I found myself dreaming. Oh, I can't get the right pitch. Come on, man. Y'all don't laugh at me yet, because I had this before y'all got on here. All right. Found myself dreaming. Oh, yeah, there it is. Found myself dreaming in silver and gold, like a scene from a movie that every broken heart knows. We were walking on moonlight, and you pulled me close. A split second and you disappear, and then I was all alone. I woke up in tears with you by my side, a breath of relief, and then I realized, no, we're not promised tomorrow. 'Cause I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna hold you like I'm saying goodbye. Whenever we're standing, I won't take you for granted, 'cause we never know when we run out of time. Right here. This is John Lady's part. I got my microphone. In the blink of a night, just a whisper of smoke. You could lose everything. The truth is you never know. So I kiss you longer, baby. Every moment I get, I make the most of the minutes in love with no regret. Let's take our time, say what we want. Yeah, before it's all gone. 'Cause we're not promised tomorrow. 'Cause I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna hold you like I'm saying goodbye. Whenever we're standing, I won't take you for granted, 'cause you'll never know when we run out of time. I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you. Let me play the guitar for y'all. Thank you, Mr. Guitar Player. I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna hold you like I'm saying goodbye. Whenever we're standing, I won't take you for granted, 'cause you'll never know when we're for that. Y'all clap for me. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Now, I would sing another one for y'all. Y'all want to hear another song? If you want to hear another song, say you want to hear another song. I'm going to wait about 30 seconds till I get a response, because I'm like about a second time late. While I'm waiting, I'm going to go ahead and try to sing this one, because I'm just feeling like it. Y'all don't, let me sing a little bit. I played this in the sax over the weekend, and they were grooving on that boat too. Y'all ready? Oh, come on, rock with me. I'm just feeling good, that's all. Here we go. Rock steady, baby. Want to I feel now. Let's go this song exactly what it is. Shake and move your hips with a feeling from side to side. Sit yourself down in your car and take a ride. When you're moving on, rock steady, baby. Let's go this song exactly what it is.
What it is, what it is, what it is.
Everybody you know down here.
What it is.
Oh, I got it. You gotta stop when you don't know the words. Anyway, I had a really good time with that, and that's because, and I'm just gonna say this to encourage y'all, just in case. If you ever feel like you're losing yourself, man, you gotta find yourself, because stuff be happening, man, and it's easy to get distracted. Let me turn this off. Sounds like I'm in a hall. Okay, that sounds better. Put my very white voice hook on. She said, sing another song and play. I'm going to play later. Not tonight. I'm going to surprise y'all with playing tonight. But let me just get my point so I can go, because I know I'm way over time. But if y'all stay with me, I promise you're going to get blessed. But it's easy to lose yourself, because dark forces are just trying to roam to see what they can kill, steal, and destroy. And if you're not careful, you are going to slip and you're going to fall, and it's hard to get up because it's slippery, With that being said, I had a friend today who was just kind of chit-chatting later in the evening, and she said something about, we were kind of going at it, and she said, do you think I would hurt you as a friend? I was like, first of all, you can't hurt me. It's impossible, because I can't be touched. I have a shield around me. I just need to realize that. Let me tell you what you can do. You can probably set yourself up to get a backfire, because the word says if you touch even the least of mine, you may as well tie a rope around your neck and jump into the ocean. So, that was just encouraging. I'm encouraging myself. I'm feeling good, and I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts. So if you don't like my singing, then just too bad. Anyway, I've got 6 other people, including Kimberly and Christine. Thank y'all so much. So that's 8. Let's see how much more I can get. But I'm going to take a break right now. When I come back, it's going to be on and popping. I promise you, you're going to really like this. Let me get ready, because I was singing. Let me clean up around here. Woo! Whistle while you work. Oh, okay. I'll be right back. Okay, don't move.
Stay focused. Not everyone will like you, support you, or wish you well. But there are so many more that will love and appreciate you as you continue to move forward. In fact, many people don't even have eyes to see you or ears to hear you. They're not even on the same frequency. So, don't always think they're hating on you. I am convinced that for every one that can't and won't see you, there are 100 more that can and will. You have purpose. Don't quit. Keep moving up. Step out and be bold. Your day is soon to come, and your testimony will be motivation for others. I believe. Stay focused. Mighty Horn Music. Smooth jazz, top 40, R&B, inspirationals, and more. Live from the Hollywood Home Studio. Like, share, subscribe. And thanks for tuning in.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of The Swimming Pool. I am your host, Travis Bridges, and thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Last week I had a guest and we talked about I don't care. That was the topic because it just made sense. I had a guest on that I had met the night before on a panel that I thought had a lot of fire, a lot of spice, and I was excited about getting inside of her head to find out where that was coming from, because something about who she was and how she was projecting, I kind of liked. However, it just wasn't my personality. So I asked if she would come on the panel, on my live stream, and of course she did, and it was very interesting. And what I've been doing as an effort to bring awareness to how we listen and how we hear and how we pay attention is I've just been getting some feedback, on the caliber of conversation. She was a wonderful lady, and I'm looking forward to her coming back. We had some great discussions, and I am now going to get some feedback from what some of my other observers received from that interaction. So there's some things I'm going to say at the end in regards to what I learned in terms of being an interviewer, as well as, some post-production. One of my critics kind of got on me pretty hard, and they had a good point. And I'm just going to take that under advisement. But I'm going to get my caller on the phone, and we're just going to chit chat, and we're going to see how this goes. And who knows, maybe I will have an observer of this conversation, because again, I'm not a therapist, a psychologist, a psychiatrist. I'm not in that profession of even interviewing, other than my background in radio, and that was as a disc jockey and not as a talk show host of any kind. Other than that, I think I just have lived long enough to be able to make an assessment of situations based on information, questioning. So I found a passion in listening, in hearing, and observing how what even myself, but more, people that I interact with, whether or not they're actually saying what they actually mean, and if what they mean is the exact words that are coming out of their mouths. It's a tricky and tough subject, and I've had several events in my life that have just pushed me into this arena, and I'm just kind of exploring it right now. So thank you for your patience as I go through my very own therapy. So with that being said, I'm going to get my caller on the phone, and we are going to do a little chit-chatting, and hopefully we will have a successful live stream for you. By chance, if you'd like to chat with me, I'd love to chat with you. TravisBridges2@AOL.com.
Hello?
Hey man, how you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. How about yourself?
Not bad at all. I'm going to refer to you as YOUNGBLOOD, and maybe that's going to give it away. If nothing else, that maybe you're younger than me. Who knows? My audience will never know. So if I say, yo, YOUNGBLOOD, no disrespecting any kind of way. And let me just explain to you, I don't mention names on purpose, because I don't want my audience or an observer to know who I'm talking to in terms of name or age or location or anything like that. I just want them and you and I to pay attention to what's actually coming out of our mouths based on the context that we are discussing. So first things first, how was your day and how is your evening now?
My day's been pretty good. My evening, I'd say it's just getting started.
Awesome. Yeah, well, let's kick it off right. First thing, did you get to listen to the interview?
I did. I watched some of it. I didn't watch all of it. I didn't get to watch all of it, but I did watch some of it, a good portion.
Ooh, that's gonna be tough, because not being able to take in the whole thing, it's gonna be tough for you to give me an assessment on it, because there may or likely is something you may have missed. So would this be considered a dud? Would you like to have some more time so that you can listen to it? Unless it was just too much for you, because I don't want to overwhelm you. This is not for everybody. And if you just couldn't get through it for whatever reason, or you didn't have the time, that's another story. So if you would like to take some more time, I'm okay with that. We can do it tomorrow, maybe later this evening. whenever you want. Or if you just want to decline right now, I promise I won't be mad. I'll still love you like a nephew. I promise.
What do you mean decline?
No, if you decide, okay, you don't want to go through with the interview, because what I'm saying is if you didn't watch it in its entirety, it's going to be tough for me to get out of you what I'm looking for in terms of your ability to check it out and then give me feedback on it. So unless you think you watched enough.
I feel like I watched a good portion, but I wouldn't want to risk any questions that would fly over my head, or that could potentially fly over my head because I didn't have enough information.
Okay, so then why don't we do this? Because the reason, say it again.
I was gonna say if I could decline. I'm not gonna lie. I will be honest. I was thinking about this all day yesterday and today, and it's been making me nervous, and it is a little overwhelming when it comes to, because this is the first time that anything like this has ever happened.
Okay.
So, it's new to me, and it is a little bit overwhelming, I will be honest.
Okay, well, can you at least tell me, because we're scheduled, we're on right now. So can you just tell me what you're overwhelmed by? Because that could be part of the interview also. Because I want you to feel comfortable. And if you just don't want to talk at all, that's fine. Can we talk about why you don't want to talk, or you just want to just totally bail out?
I don't know. A part of me does want to fully bail out, but I also don't want to. I don't want to leave you hanging, because I scheduled the time and everything. But I feel. I wouldn't say so, but I do feel somewhat overwhelmed because, it's other people viewing and listening to what I have to say, and I overthink a lot. I tend to overthink a lot.
Welcome to the club. We're just you and I are just alike. The reason, part of my therapy for overthinking is doing what I'm doing. I make myself talk about what I'm thinking about so someone else can hear me, because sometimes there's one of my favorite authors, and I usually don't mention names, but I'm going to give him some right now. Eckhart Tolle, he talks about watching the thinker in his book entitled The Power of Now. So what you're doing may be uncomfortable, but it'll be good for you. And listen, you can almost trust me, and I'm saying that in that I understand why you're overwhelmed. But if you're nervous about, you're overthinking, you're in a comfortable place. Now, I was saying to my audience before, my post-production, may have been a little brutal, because I did put some after sound effects that kind of helped me tell my message. And it could be viewed as not fair because my guest was not able to see that. But so far, she hasn't said anything, and it was all in fun, and she doesn't seem to be offended. But I can just say this to you, there will be no sound effects that would cause you to look bad in any kind of way. But if I do need to reiterate something, I will say that. And this is where you get practice. How would you get better if you don't go ahead and get on the floor and dance? So this is that opportunity. Again, I'm not going to force you. I know it sounds like I am. If you tell me absolutely you're going to bail, I'll let you go and we'll go. But I'm going to try to encourage you to just stay on with me. And we don't even have to talk about, the fullness of the interview. We even now have a new subject. We can talk about why you're overwhelmed. That would be good for me. And somebody will be, educated by, or even blessed. Somebody might say, okay, I know his feeling, and let's just see how it goes. Again, last chance. If you want to totally bail, I'll let you go. But I'm going to encourage you to just talk. You're in a safe place.
Okay, I'll talk.
Wow, you got me with a little tear coming out of my eye, because I know that feeling. And let me just say this before we say anything else. I know what it feels like to be afraid. So I'm kind of even getting a chills right now. But let me say something. My fear is not because I'm not confident. I'm just a big, gentle giant. I believe I can go toe-to-toe and box anybody and win. I can still wrestle too, and I can still bench press 350. So, I'm pretty tough, but I care about people. I care about situations where people are not, at their fullest. So I just want you to know, I know exactly what you're feeling now. And because of that, I'm going to just have a conversation with you about what you're feeling. And if by chance you want me to block any of this, I can definitely make sure none of it gets to the airways. But I think it's going to be good. So thank you for trusting me. So for starters, we're going to talk a little bit about what you did here. Tell me what you're overwhelmed by.
Well, looking bad, not on, okay. Looking bad or making myself look bad, with certain things I say. I know sometimes I may go back on things I say, or I may have a different opinion mid-conversation because I tend to think while I'm talking some of the time. Like as of recent, I'm just, or rather, let me say, when quarantine hit, during that time, with everybody being inside, I was pretty much just spending most of my time by myself. And so in doing that and being stuck inside the house, you have, besides being online, because I play the game, I talk with others online. And besides doing that, I really just find myself thinking a lot, or I found myself thinking a lot more than what I used to. So
you're not alone.
Most of the time, so most of the time I'm usually just talking to myself in my head. And so a lot of the times while I'm speaking with somebody, or even when somebody is talking to me, I just hear, there's a voice in my head telling me different things, or, maybe running back what somebody said so I can, think about it and try to get a different understanding. It's different. I'm trying to get the words out.
It's okay.
It's
let me just say
it's
this.
useful for different situations. It's useful for very many different situations, or a lot of different situations. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Let me just say this. What you're experiencing happens to 99% of the people I know. Our brain is designed to think and create. Some people are better at paying attention. Some people are better at not being distracted. I promise you, I struggle with it because my brain is always thinking. And if I could use this forbidden word, overanalyzing, that's that, I've been accused of that and maybe even guilty of it. I do. And that's why I like to get to the bottom. People like what you're describing, who you didn't say overanalyze, you said overthink. And there's a slight difference in that. But let me tell you, it's good to get clarity because that way you don't have to be in your head as long. Especially if you can talk with someone who says what they mean and mean what they say. It gets convoluted when you're talking with someone who's all over the place, who may say something and mean something different. But that's why maybe you can surround yourself with people who will practice with you like what you and I are doing right now. If you and I get through a conversation, I don't know how long we're going to be on or what we're going to get into, but I could, there's this saying that goes, well, it's a scripture, iron sharpens iron. We both have the same, concern about our communication styles. You might catch me saying something that, I might need to be able to sharpen up on. So I understand what you're saying. I have a question for you, though. My question for you is, if you are aware of how you are and you feel like you're not comfortable with it, what would it take for you to be comfortable? What would that look or sound like?
What would it take for me to be comfortable?
Right. Like right now, let me just slow down. Right now, you're overwhelmed. That's the word you use. And you're not comfortable so much so that you wanted to bail out. And I get that. And I'm glad I was able to keep you for this long. What I would like to know is, what would it take for you to feel comfortable?
I think it would I think it's just an overtime thing. Like, as we talk, I'll start to feel more comfortable, you know? Because I already feel somewhat more comfortable now knowing that, you also, you also overthink, or you also think a lot of the times, or, or talking to yourself in your head, whatever it may be for you specifically. But to know that I'm not alone is comforting enough,
Well, let me tell you, and you were nice when you said, overthinking. I like to use the words just, for what it really is. I overanalyze. I'm forever, and one little word in a statement will catch my attention and can change the meaning of something. So I am right there with you, and it's okay. I promise you, you are in a safe place. So tell me, what would it take for you to be comfortable? What would you be able to give a speech in front of 1,000 people right now today?
I don't know about that.
That sounds tough. I have a smile on my face, and I'm imagining you saying probably not, because you're overwhelmed with this one-on-one, and I get it. Would you like to be able to have that kind of confidence, to be able to say, I can go in front of 1,000 or 10,000 and express myself? Would you like to be able to do that?
Yes.
Oh,
it would be nice to have some confidence.
There you go. Well, let me just tell you, as an old dog in the business, the only way you're going to do it is if you get out there and do it. Now, again, I'm getting better at my interviewing style. I'm going to do a whole lot less of my opinion about what someone is saying, and give my audience the opportunity to assess. But it's kind of sort of defeating the purpose. I'm bringing awareness to how well we focus, not necessarily to try to bring up someone's fault. But I want to ask you this question, right in midstream. Did my communication style make you nervous? Did I seem overwhelming? Yes or no?
No, not at all.
Okay. Oh, wow. Man, I was holding my breath when you said it, because I don't want to seem or sound or look or be threatening in any kind of way. And let me just tell you a little story. I had a conversation with another guest, and we were talking about how I had a conversation with someone and how I was able to convince them to look at a situation in a different way. And the two words came up, manipulation as well as persuasion. And I was, accused initially of manipulating, someone. And it's like, wait, hold on a second. I know a person with confidence and who's not afraid and who's going to encourage someone, can be effective in getting someone to come out of a closed shell. But manipulation has a negative connotation to it. And if I can't control how someone thinks. But if I can avoid someone having the wrong impression, I'm definitely going to do that. But again, by the time we talked, the word was, I was persuasive. And there's a thin line between manipulating and persuading someone to do something. So I think what I'm doing right now, I don't think I manipulated you to stay on. I think I just made you feel comfortable with knowing that, okay, you're okay. Would you agree with that, or did you see something different?
I agree with your statement. I didn't, there, in my opinion, was no manipulation. I just felt more comfortable knowing that, I wasn't alone with how I think. I'm
just going to keep on reiterating that if it makes you feel comfortable, because I know that feeling, and you're younger than me. And if someone had shared with me what I'm about to say to you right now, who knows where I would be. But even as a grown man, I'm about to be a grandfather. I'm going to be a grandfather in October. So I'm an old dude. Small things. Thank you. I received that. I'm giving some claps to my audience, from my audience. But let me just say this to you, and you've probably heard it before. It really is okay to be afraid. It really is okay to not have, the confidence that we particularly see on TV or in movies, because first of all, those people are acting and they're on a stage, and you don't know what they're going through in their own private life. But I'm going to say this to you. I was speaking with your mom the other day, and when I saw you, the last time I remember seeing you, man, you were really in diapers. You know, and you were like, I'm talking about, she was yelling at you, stopping you from getting into some kind of trouble. And when I looked on the video when we were doing the coaching session the other day, and I saw you and I looked up, it's like, this dude is tall. You know, he's got bass in his voice. I'm like, what is this? I'm not going to say I'm old, but you know, you grew fast. But I want to say this to you. I see, I'm even overwhelmed. It's okay, and I don't want to say be afraid, because let's lose that word if we can. You don't have to be afraid. It's okay to be a little timid, but you're never going to get past that unless you do it. So with that being said, we've got the ice broken and we're already into the conversation. I want to hear from you what you did hear, and we're going to talk about what you heard. And whatever you did, get an opportunity to listen to it. But again, let me just reiterate again, before we go into that, you're in a safe place. Say what you want to say. Be yourself. Let's talk. We're both going to learn something within the next half hour to 40 minutes or so. So what did you hear that stood out more than anything? Whatever that is, just go.
What I heard from the interview.
That stood out the most.
That stood out. To me, it sounded like a little bit of, you know, there were some contradictions in what she was saying. And, that's the main thing that I really noticed, you know, and it, just seemed like she didn't, well, when you guys were talking about her personality and the way that she acted and how she was bold, and how she had it was the way she was explaining it was, if somebody gets the wrong impression of me, then I don't care. It doesn't bother me, you know. I could understand. I understood I understood her point of view, you know, as well as yours. But it just seemed like certain things she was saying within the interview, she was kind of going back on. But that's really about it from what I noticed when I was from what I watched.
Okay, I don't know. I asked you what in particular, and you didn't tell me anything in particular. So it sounds like we're going to be talking about tone, because there's different ways to listen. You've probably heard this saying, it's not how you say something, you know, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. You picked up on that, and your word was contradiction, and you didn't give me an exact example. I heard a few myself, and again, not picking on my guest, because that's, you know, I do that sometimes myself if I'm not careful. You know, I'll say more of what I'm feeling as opposed to what's actually coming out of my mouth. And that's what I think is the job of a good interviewer. And let me just tell you another story. I hope I don't get sidetracked. We're still in the warm-up stage here. I remember I took a course called Interviews and Interrogations, and I was so passionate about that class. I made a straight A, part 1 and part 2, 2 semesters back to back. And the instructor was one of the guys who did polygraph tests for the state of Florida. And I was one of the students. I was one of the older students in the class, because I went to college late, by the way. And I remember one day after class, after the second semester, he said, you know, I've been doing this for the state for a long time, and I can tell you are a natural at this. If you ever decide you want to get into interviews and interrogations, you know, or interviews, you know, just let me know, because you don't have to be a police officer or some, obviously, to conduct polygraph tests. But I was about to say, one of the jobs or responsibilities of a good interviewer is to be able to listen to communication, not just by words. And what I think you're on your way to is being a good listener, because you didn't tell me what you heard as much as you telling me what you felt. Am I on track with that? Did you feel contradiction, or you heard it, or both?
I'll say that I felt more contradiction.
Was it in the tone in general? Was it the attitude?
It was her tone and her attitude that made me feel that way.
And of course, when you listen and you hear one thing, and I guess the sound effects, I guess they played their role in bringing attention to, wait, okay, well, you're saying this, but maybe you're meaning something different. Let me just ask you some direct questions about, did you hear confidence in the guest? Yes or no?
Yes, I did.
So confidence and contradiction, let's see how those mix. I know that Clorox mixes well with water, but Clorox doesn't mix well with ammonia. I'm going somewhere, so just stay with me. Confidence and contradiction. How do you think you heard confidence and contradiction? I think I know why, but I want to give you the opportunity to explain yourself. How did you hear? Because you said confidence. No, contradiction. But then you said you did hear confidence. How is that?
Well, she sounded, okay. So when you were asking her about, let's see. When you asked her about, does it seem like she comes off as rude?
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me help you out, and it's okay. Listen, I understand. It's okay. I wanted to give you the opportunity. Let me just ask you if this is what you're trying to say. Is it possible that you're trying to say that she was confident in her contradiction?
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that necessarily.
Okay. So what did you hear confidence in?
Well, the way I was going to put it was, there were certain questions that you did ask her that she sounded confident on, but when you ran it back in a different way, she seemed to, how can I say,
not be as confident.
Yes.
Or okay. So I'm thinking you did more you're feeling than hearing, because you did just give me an example about not caring, about what people think. So I'm now, I believe my conversation with you is going to be more about how you felt. So let me just jump to another question. Did you feel more entertained or educated by what you witnessed?
Good question.
It's okay. Take your time. Did you feel like you got something out of it in terms of how to sound or how not to sound, or how people sound in general? Or did you feel like, okay, this is hilarious, or this is crazy, or this was, good to listen to because, it perked up, it made me it caused me to think, it provoked my thinking. So the original question was it more educational or entertaining to you?
I felt as if it was more educational. And the reason I'm saying that is because after we got off the phone yesterday, when you told me to watch, the past live stream, after I went to go, when I was going to go watch it, my intentions were to see how this interview was going to go, like how my interview, pretty much the basis of what I was going to experience. That's what I was looking for. Mm-hmm. So everything else, I did pay attention to some of it, and I did forget a lot of it. I will say that. but I really just wanted to get how this interview was going to go.
Okay, you just was
Basis of
looking
how-
again. So maybe I'm on track. You're more of a feeling type person as opposed to a detail person. So you were listening just to see kind of sort of what you're getting into. So if there had been lights and sirens and music and people dancing, you would have known it was going to be a different kind of interview as opposed to one guy sitting on the screen talking to someone who's, he's drilling down on, what he's actually hearing. And I use that word drilling because, my son taught it to me about another case. But you were listening just to see if you would be able to be okay in the environment. And you didn't feel any kind of threats because you showed up, but you kind of got cold feet, and that's fine. That's normal. I'm going to try to move on. Did you feel that, as far as the interview, the tone of the interview, did it sound like an argument or did it sound like a conversation?
It sounded like a conversation that turned into an argument.
Okay, that's some pretty good observation there. So I want you to explain what you mean, but just for the sake of the question, which more did it seem like? Did it seem more like a conversation or an argument?
Seemed more like an argument.
Okay. So tell me how. Tell me the one thing that made it seem like an argument.
It was mainly her tone that made me feel that way. It was because it was there were a lot of times where you were trying to stay on track, and she would cut you off, and she was very much speaking over you and trying to get her point out, not so much caring about what you had to say, or rather, she wanted to get her point across first before she let you say what you had to say.
Okay. Well, that would definitely, maybe not an argument, but a rather hostile conversation if you're trying to be nice about it. Did I in any way seem aggravated by that tone?
Thinking back on it, there were certain parts of the video that when I was watching that you did seem a little bit frustrated, but for the most part you seemed very tolerant of it.
Okay, so yeah, let me just say, I think I was very there's two parts of me, not that I'm have different personalities, but there's two ways that you listen. I was listening. The ego part of me wanted to jump back at that tone, but there's a part of me that felt a little compassion for where she was. Notice when you said you were hesitant about coming on, I could feel, your reservation. So instead of saying, man, why you punking out? What's wrong with you? Instead of dogging you, it's like, no, I kind of understand. So yeah, I was not frustrated because you were about to back out, but it's like a little disappointed. It's like, gosh, man, I think you can do this. You'll be okay. So I felt the compassion, when you were a little hesitant. I felt the same with her. I could feel that aggression because it's the same type of energy. Fear and aggression is kind of sort of the same. If I was a psychiatrist or psychologist, I would know how to say what it is I'm trying to say in regards to, how those two emotions, how a fear and a lack of confidence are kind of sort of the same. So you're right in your observation that I was a little disappointed, but I could feel something coming from her that could not allow me to fight back because I felt compassion, and I felt like this was a time where I said, in another interview, one of my favorite scriptures, the strong bears the infirmities of the weak. Not that she was weak either, but I could tell that she was aggravated or perturbed about something. And as opposed to being offended and fighting back, It's like, hey, we can get through this. Let's just talk it out. So slow down. So when she said, no, let me talk, I was like, okay, go ahead, take all the time you need. And of course, we were running out of time, but I wanted to make a point of how even when you're frustrated, it's important to try not to fight the fire with the fire, unless maybe she started throwing blows, different story. We've got to protect ourselves and not let someone beat you up verbally, because someone can do that too. You don't have to harm someone with fists as much as you can, with words. So yeah, I was a little disappointed, but I was patient, just like I am with you, and just like I want to be with anybody, not just on my live stream, just in general. I have people come at me in an aggressive way, and I want to fight back, but there's something inside of me that says just don't do that. And don't get me wrong, nobody's gonna bully me or dog me, because I can stand up and fight, and I'm just as street as anybody else. So don't let the niceness fool anybody that might be watching, listening, or hearing. But with that said, I'm going to try to move on. Based on how you felt when you first got here, on a scale from 1 to 10, this was one of the questions I asked her. At first, you were about to bail out, so I'm going to say that was like a 1, 2, or a 3. And your wanting to stay was definitely a 10. You were going to. Where are you at this very moment in terms of the time? Because we're going to be gone inside less than 15 minutes, we're going to be totally gone. I think less than that. But where are you in terms of your comfort or confidence?
I'd say that I'm at a 6 right now.
Okay, that's good. So now this is where it's going to get tough, but I want you to dig deep inside of there. I want you to find the one thing that you either thought, that you're still thinking right now, or that you can think of, that you want to ask anything at all about me, my personality, my background, and I'm giving you ideas. There's something that you're wondering about me, and I want to know what it is. If it's nothing, just say nothing and keep going. But is there any question you want to ask me? And I'm going to give you a blank sheet of paper. It can be personal, it can be political, it can be religious, it can be about anything. As the interviewer from what you saw on the live stream, and even right now, what would you like to say, ask, or advise me right now?
Let's see. What type of advice? Actually, it's more of a question that more like advice.
I don't care what it is. I want you to think of anything you want to say, ask. You can tell me about something you saw on the news 3 days ago. I don't care what it is. I want you to take this opportunity to speak, because I told you I was going to be a grandfather, and I know your age. The audience doesn't know your age, but I could probably be your grandfather too if I started early enough. But it's okay. You're safe, and I have a lot of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that I can share freely with you. So I don't care what it is you want to know, whether it's about the interview, whatever you want to know about this dude that you're now coming in and interacting with. What do you want to know? What do you want to ask?
What kind of advice would you give to someone my age when it comes to moving forward in life?
I would ask you what you mean exactly, but I'm not. I'm going to say this. It's important that you know who you are. The confidence that you talked about when you came on, I'm going to tell you to drop that instantly, like a hot coal fell in your hand. That doesn't mean do the opposite of that and be cocky and have an I don't care attitude. That's not what I'm saying. But you have got to know that, first of all, let me just ask you some questions, and you answer me according to what I ask you. And I'm going to keep my thought process, but just for the sake of answering your question, I'm going to ask you a couple quick ones. Are you a man? Are you a male or female?
I'm a male.
Are you closer to 6 feet tall or closer to 3 feet tall?
Closer to 6 feet.
Do you have any idea what ethnic background you're from. Are you black or white?
I am black.
Okay. Do you like football or basketball better? Which one?
Basketball.
Okay, good. You see how you answered those questions with confidence?
Yes.
Moving forward with whatever it is you want to do, you've got to have that same confidence. Because I'm going to tell you why you have to have that same confidence. You're going to have obstacles, and you're going to have haters, and you're going to have even that mind, that voice that was in your head that was telling you, you can't do this, you know, and I'm not going to always be there to say, yes, you can. Or your mom or your family or friends, your teachers, instructors. Hold on a second. I've got a little technical. Somebody's not going to always be there to encourage you, which is why you've got to have this level of confidence, not cockiness. Just like those questions I asked you, and you gave me the answer without wavering. When you decide what it is you're going to do, or whatever it is you're not going to do, you have got to be committed to that. Saying, I don't know, I think, or probably, or maybe I'll find out tomorrow. When someone asks you something, try to give a yes or no. When you are questioning yourself about something, try to give yourself a yes or a no. And consistency is the only way you're going to finish something. Commitment is the only way you're going to get anything started. So as I was saying in the beginning, if someone had said to me what I'm saying to you now, I may or may not be in a different place. But I like that question you asked me. At your age, you need to know, the best way to move forward. Because guess what? We have challenges. We have obstacles. We have haters. We have even restrictions. But this is one thing I believe, and I'm saying it for myself as well as you. No one can stop you but you. So, with all of that being said, and to answer your question, as it relates to you moving forward, get you a piece of paper and a pen, or your phone if you have to. Decide what it is you want to do and what it is you want to be. And once you conclude that, you get it inside your head and in your heart. Just like those questions I asked you, you said you're a male and not a female. Nobody's going to convince you otherwise. So when you decide what it is you want to do, don't let somebody convince you otherwise. And then the consistency of that, whatever your plan is to get there, when you wake up every morning, you've got to step in that direction. If you don't, you won't. If you don't do that, you're not going to reach your goal, in other words. So that's a good question. I'm glad you asked it, and I'm honored to be able to give you that kind of information. So I don't know what it is you want to do or why you ask that, but I hope you feel better in knowing that you've got to make a decision, then stick to your decision and don't let anybody talk you off of it. Sometimes people can persuade you to do something a different way, but don't let nobody manipulate you out of whatever your dream is deep inside, especially of who you know you are. Are you a good dude or a bad dude?
I consider myself a good dude.
Well, good. Don't let nobody convince you that you're less than that, because you are a good dude. And you are.
Thank you.
Yeah. And don't let anything or anybody convince you. And let me tell you right now, back in the day, they used to say, the devil gonna try you. Because as soon as you get knowledge, there's something about dark forces that's gonna try you. And it's kind of might even be designed that way. So now that you've put this in the air, or whatever you decide you're going to do, and maybe you shouldn't talk so much. They say don't tell all your business to everybody. Whatever it is you want to do, you know what you want to be, or what you want to be, or what you want to do next. Just be sure of it. Don't let anything or anybody talk you out of it. And that voice in your head is nothing but, your inner voice that's just making sure you mean what you're saying. It's not a crazy, you're not crazy, because I don't think I'm crazy. Other people may think I am. Sometimes I think I might be a little bit, but it's okay to have those voices, but you can stop all those voices when you decide, this is who I am, this is where I am, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to do it, and this is the consistency necessary in order to get there. And once you set a goal and you accomplish it, have another one already ready to accomplish, because you don't want to get comfortable in anything you do or that you accomplish, because you're as good as yesterday, because what you did yesterday means nothing to right now. Because you hear people say all the time, including me, well, what I did, I used to be this or I used to be that. Now and in the future is very important. What you did is not, a part of your potential anymore. It's what you've already accomplished. So I hope I didn't talk too much, and I hope you have at least one more question, because whatever that next question, or thought, or comment is what's going to close us out. So I insist that you say something else to me, and I don't care what it is. Did you get the answer you're looking for, or do you have any more questions about that answer?
I got the answer I was looking for.
Good.
My next question, or my final question is, you work in voice acting, correct?
My background is radio, and from my home studio, I write script and I produce radio commercials. And I'm also a musician. I play saxophone. So nights and weekends, or whenever, I go out and I play for a variety of events and venues, and I provide that service. Of course, my degree is in criminal justice, and I never became the lawyer that I thought I wanted to be for a quick moment. But I did get my education, and I do have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. But yes, I do work in the voiceover industry along with your mother. That's how we know each other. And she is my unofficial coach. So yes, that's a lot of information. But yes, I'm in the voiceover industry.
So what I wanted to know was what made you pick up voiceover, and what is it that you love about it?
I don't think anything made me do it, which is part of the reason I was telling you to make a choice as to what you want to do, so you don't have to take what comes. I went to college right out of high school, and the college that I went to had a radio station on campus. I never thought I wanted to get in radio. It wasn't, a big thing of mine. But when I saw that I could get free training if I volunteered, it was usually a work study program. But I knew that it's something that I felt like I could do. It's something in my spirit that said you can be good at it. And I thought it was too great of an opportunity, of a skill to learn, to not take advantage of it, especially if all I had to do was volunteer. So again, I went to college for music. My major at that time was music, and I saw myself being a band director. I wanted to direct either a high school or junior high or an elementary school band, and of course I was going to perform. But right after my first year, the theory was so hard for me, I kind of punked out and I quit. It was too hard and I gave up. I didn't have anyone to convince me or persuade me or even manipulate me to stay in music, because I'd probably be a better saxophone player if my theory was better. But I originally wanted to be a band director, but I decided right away, as opposed to being a director, I kind of want to be into performing. So I just started playing on my own and just said, forget about teaching school and learning all this theory. I know enough already. I thought I knew everything, and I knew enough, but not as much as I thought I did. So to answer your question and to get back on track, the radio station on campus allowed me the opportunity to train as a worker, and that was what I got in return for my service of going to get bagels and donuts and stuff and sweeping up and putting records and CDs back. I also got to learn how radio worked.
So the real question was, what do you love about voiceover? Is there something that you love? Is there something that you like about it? Anything at all?
What I like about it is I get to express myself in a way that is pleasing to someone. I get the opportunity to, I want to use the word convince, because that's what voice acting is and voiceover is. You get to convince someone of what they're actually hearing. They get to create an image in their head, especially if I'm doing some type of advertisement of some sort or reading. Like my coaching session the other night was on reading, and I was being coached on how to create the image in a person's head based on my inflection. So the idea that I can get someone's attention and hold it long enough to make a point and either convince them or impress them is kind of sort of exciting to me. It's a powerful place to be. It's almost like music. When I pick up my saxophone, I know that I have the opportunity to change the atmosphere for the good. So if what I can say can encourage or enhance someone in some kind of way, or for a client, if I can convince someone to buy a vehicle or to buy whatever it is I'm selling, that's satisfactory to me, that I did my job of something that's effective. So the idea that I can be effective in getting someone's attention and holding it and being effective at it is what I think I like more.
I'm not gonna lie, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. And at this point in time,
I never thought of a voiceover like that.
I started out as a disc jockey, and I was pretty good at it. Then I became, a mix guy, because I did this mix show back in Carolina, and I was just this guy. I was the talent who would go out. I tell people I don't even want to mention the name. I was like the hot DJ for a while, and people would, hear me and come out and support me, whether I was doing a remote or going to a location somewhere where there was a party or an event. I was that guy that, people wanted to meet because they would hear this voice, and I was their friend. I would come into their houses and their cars and their events or wherever they were. And it's like, okay, I came to know this guy, so I'm going to go and see him and support him, and I'm going to listen to him because of that. And that's what I got into. But the radio changed so much that I didn't see a big future in that. I could have, I guess, and maybe if I had been as determined as I'm trying to tell you to be. Because I tell people also, I was supposed to be the Tom Joyner and the Steve Harveys and the, all the guys who are doing it big now. That was my goal, to be that big. But somehow or another, I kind of let challenges talk me out of it. So what I told you is not because I want you to do as I say and not as I do, because I don't want you to do as I did. I hope you caught that. I could say it again, and it probably won't come out the same way. I just want you to know how important it is to make up your mind and stick to whatever you want to do, and don't let anything or anybody talk you out of it. So I don't know if I got off track or not, but I found a comfortable place. Okay. I found a comfortable place in the editing sector, so I can edit audio, and I'm getting pretty good at video now too. So, it's just a comfortable place to be in. With all the technology now, people are doing it on their own. I've got to reinvent myself in some kind of way. But, it's a skill that I'm glad that I have. I'm proud of it, and I'm pretty decent at it. I just, pray for more opportunities, and I have to work for more opportunities so that I can continue to feed myself.
Well, thank you for the advice. I really appreciate it. That means a lot to me, and it opened my eyes in a way that they haven't been open before.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me just say this. We were you going to say something else? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I was going to say I do have a hard time when it comes to sticking to certain things sometimes. I find myself getting sidetracked by something else. Or, maybe even giving up. and it is hard sometimes to just stay consistent because I find myself slipping off that the track. Like I'm being on track, and then
Distracted.
I get sidetracked. Something else distracted.
Mm-hmm.
I get distracted.
Well,
So, and I do get distracted easily, which I'm trying to work on.
that's probably two things. Could be a sugar addiction, because we know sugar causes people to be hyper and it can affect your attention. But that's a kind of side joke. Let me just say this to you. Listen carefully to me. You're not abnormal because you have this overwhelming desire inside to quit or give up or not be consistent. It's with most people. I think the correct number is 1% of people succeed at their goals. I'm going to promote this, The Strangest Secret. I'm going to send it to you when we hang up. I want you to listen to that, and I insist that you listen to it tonight before you go to bed. So when we're done here, I'm going to send you this dialogue, or it's a monologue actually. It's called The Strangest Secret. I think it's Norman Vincent Peale, who is a motivational speaker. That's what he is referred to as today. There's only a small amount of people that stick to their goals. And I even heard another podcast today, about why everybody wants to come to America. I have some side-eyed things to say about my own country, but the truth is, this is a place of opportunity. If you stay committed and if you stay consistent. Those are two words that I want you to write down, and remember tonight. Along with that podcast, I'm going to send you The Strangest Secret. Committed and consistency is the key to any success. And I'm an old dude now, and I'm still practicing it, because guess what? I give up and I quit too. And I wished I had more of it inside of me. But as I said to you when we first started, irons sharpens iron. If I tell you something and we talk every week or day or however often we talk, I know that I committed even to you. And it's not your responsibility, but it's not going to hurt for you to say, hey man, how's that going? And if I say, well, it's not, well, listen, man, you remember what you said? We've got to hold each other accountable. And we are our brother's keeper. And, the strong does bear the infirmities of the weak. So it's normal. I just want you, even at a younger age, to see yourself in that 1% of those who have the opportunity to succeed with commitment and consistency. So whatever it is you want to do or whatever you want to be, just remember that. One more thing I'm going to throw on top of that. You are never, ever going to feel like it. So if you're waiting for the right time, you're never going to feel like it. It's never going to feel like getting up and working out, or getting up and practicing, or getting up and filling out some paperwork, or getting up and learning about something or reading. You're never going to feel like it, especially if you have a video game in front of you, or a phone that's distracting you, or an obstacle in the way that you can't get your focus back. You've just got to do what I said from the beginning. Make a decision and then choose to stay committed to that decision, and you cannot lose. I'm going to take some of my own advice tonight. So you have a great opportunity, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell you something. This is your first time actually having a lengthy conversation with me, but I'm going to stay committed to do what I wish someone would have done for me. I've got your number now. You're never going to be able to get rid of me. So just know that I'm going to be in your ear and in your face, not to scare you or to manipulate you, but to remind you of what you said of yourself. There's a scripture in the Bible, and I hear some of my ministers, they'll say, we're like God, and God says, put him in remindance of what he says. So when we pray to God, supposedly we're supposed to say, God, you said, and in your word, and that's how we communicate, when we're trying to, get a prayer through or a conversation, put him in remembrance of that. So I'm just saying that same thing to you. I don't know what you want to do, but I'm going to talk to you enough, and I'm going to find out what it is you want to do, and I'm going to check on you. I'm not going to try to be your boss or, try to micromanage you,
But I want you to hear my voice in your head saying, every time you sit down when you're supposed to be up, that commitment and consistency is the only way, unless you are the 1 in 100 million to hit the lottery, and then you still are not going to be happy because money is just, it's not what it's supposed to be. And that's what I hear, and I believe it. So with that being said, don't quit. Make your decision. Choose to be committed to that decision. And you can't go wrong. You can't fail. And if you do fail, I'm going to tell you who you can blame. You know who you can blame when you fail?
Who? Myself.
Thank you. Very good. You can go to the mirror and look into the mirror and say, that's who's responsible for where I am today. So you have my number. I have yours. Unless you have something else to say, I'm going to keep my word and let you go, because we're right on the time that I said we were going to be done. So with that being said, I'm going to tell you thank you for trusting me. It was nowhere near as bad as you thought it was. Now, was it?
No, I enjoyed myself.
Okay, and so did I. And how about that? Let's let that be our closing statement for this, to close this out. It's never as bad as we think it is. It really is just all that it is. And those thoughts that we have are just thoughts. We've got to calm ourselves down and know, especially when those thoughts start to get the best of us. With that being said, unless you have something else to say, I'm going to high five, fist bump you, and I'm going to tell you what I tell all the rest of my guests. I love you, little bro, and I'm going to keep in touch with you. You're going to hear from me, and I hope that one day you can say, I remember I was on this interview and I heard something that changed my life, because it's my reasonable service. It's the least that I can do. And although I said I wasn't going to micromanage you, you can't see well, maybe you can. It's going to feel like you got heat on you, because I'm going to check on you, and I want to be the voice that you need to hear to keep you inspired and maybe even motivated. So on that note, unless you have something to say, I'm going to let you go.
Thank you.
You got it.
You have a good night.
Back at you. Take care.
All right.
All right. There you have it. Hopefully another successful swimming pool. Say what you mean what you say. I had no idea how that was going to go. And I'm grateful that he trusted me to at least get through that. And I hope it's a lesson that not only he can learn, but that you can learn also. We can, if we try, and if we stay consistent, we can succeed. Till the next time, find somebody you need to say I love you to. Don't just say it, but show it. Good night.
SWYM. Say what you mean. As much as this information is designed to bring awareness to how we listen, hear, and process, it is also a form of therapy. The little person inside of all of us needs to be heard. As adults, even listening to ourselves is a form of healing, strengthening, and growth. It's okay to speak, talk, express yourself, and be heard, even if you're the only listener. If our testimony does anything at all for anyone else, that makes the continued effort worth the time. Get the words out. You'll feel better, and that's a promise. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
You know, sometimes it seems like all the good times are gone. But you got to keep on searching. You got to keep on keeping on. Keep on keeping on. For example, take me standing right here today. I would not be here with you if I believed the things that the people say. You got to keep on searching. Keep on searching. Keep it on the cool side. Keep it on the cool side. Keep on